Shalom, everyone. If you like this video, subscribe with us to YouTube. Thank you.
Go to Matthew 26. This is where it takes the cake. This is where it takes the cake. Let me bring this image back up, and then we're done with this. Bring this image back up. Read verse 17. Matthew 26 and 17.
Matthew chapter 26 and verse 17. Now the first day of the feast of unleavened bread, the disciples came to Jesus, saying unto him, Where wilt thou that we prepare for thee to eat the Passover?
It say, read that again, my bad, verse 17.
Now the first day of the feast of unleavened bread.
So it say, the first day of the feast of unleavened bread, go ahead.
The disciples came to Jesus, saying unto him, Where wilt thou that we prepare for thee to eat the Passover?
So what day is the first day of the feast of unleavened bread? Go to read verse 18.
Verse 18. And he said, Go into the city to such a man, and say unto him, The master said, My time is at hand. I will keep the Passover at thy house with my disciples.
So what day do you have to eat the Passover? Go to Exodus chapter 12. Let's see what day this is. We just gonna see exactly what day this is. Now, I want y'all to pay attention to this. Where does it say? Pay attention to this. Y'all see that? So remember, this is every month. Lunar Sabbath days are the 8th day of the month, the 15th, the 22nd, and the 29th of every Hebrew month. Every Hebrew month, the Sabbath is those same days every month. The 8th, the 15th, the 22nd, the 29th. So now, we have Passover. We just read about the Passover. They were trying to find a place to eat the Passover. Let's see what day that is that you eat the Passover. Exodus 12, what is 6? Exodus 12 and verse 6.
Exodus chapter 12 and verse 6. And ye shall keep it up until the 14th day of the same month. And the whole assembly of the congregation of Israel shall kill it in the evening.
So you shall kill the Passover in the evening of what? The 14th day. So I want y'all to look at this picture. Y'all see the 14th day? That's what? The day before what? The Sabbath. According to Lunar Sabbath. The 14th day is the day before day Sabbath, the weekly Sabbath, the 15th day. So now, it's the 14th day. Go to Matthew 26 and 31. Go back to Matthew 26. It's the 14th day. So they just ate the Passover. Matthew 26 and 31.
Matthew chapter 26 and verse 31. Then said Jesus unto them, All ye shall be offended because of me this night. For it is written, I will smite the shepherd, and the sheep of the flock shall be scattered abroad.
So mind you, they just ate the Passover in verse 17 and 18. Well, you know what? Read verse 28. This is called the Last Supper. When they ate the Passover on the 14th day at evening, they eating the Passover, the supper. Read verse 28.
Matthew
17.
26
Yeah, my bad. 26
and 28.
28.
For this is my blood of the New Testament, which is shed for many for the remission of sins.
Go ahead.
But I say unto you, I will not drink henceforth of this fruit of the vine until that day when I drink it new with you in my Father's kingdom.
So remember, that is the communion that they had during the Passover meal. Remember, they ate the unleavened bread and they had the wine. That was the Passover meal. They had the communion. That's the communion that they had Passover night. So now read verse 31.
Then said Jesus unto them, All ye shall be offended because of me this night. For it is written, I will smite the shepherd, and the sheep of the flock shall be scattered abroad.
Because Christ know this is the night they finna come and get me. He said, all y'all gonna be offended, because mind you, they finna come and get me this night. Remember, this is Friday. I won't say Friday. This is the 14th day of the month at night. They said they was gonna, remember, they came and got him in the middle of that night. Go ahead.
But after I am risen again, I will go before you unto Galilee. Peter answered and said unto him, though all men shall be offended because of thee, yet will I not be offended.
So Peter like, man, I ain't gonna be offended. I got your back. I'm gonna die with you. Go ahead.
Jesus said unto him, verily I say unto thee, that this night before the cock crow, thou shalt deny me thrice.
He said the cock crow when the sun coming up. So he said, so remind you, this is that night. So he said, before the cock crow, you gonna deny me thrice, 3 times. Go ahead.
Peter said unto him, though I should die with thee, yet will I not deny thee. Likewise also said all the disciples.
All the disciples was like, man, I ain't gonna deny you. I'm not gonna deny you. So now we know what night that is. That is the 14th day at evening, going into what? The 15th day. The next evening will be the 15th day. So now, where we at? Go to Matthew 27. So he went all that day, all that night. So really that's the 15th day had already started. The 14th day evening is really the 15th day, but we ain't even gonna go into that right now. So let's say, they woke him up, they got him that night, they captured him. Y'all, if y'all not familiar with the story, we're not gonna read the whole story. But it was the day you killed the Passover, 14th that evening. Going into, which is really the 15th day. So now, go to Matthew 27, read 46.
Matthew chapter 27 and verse 46. And about the 9th hour, Jesus cried with a loud voice, saying, Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani. That is to say, my God, why hast thou forsaken me?
Go ahead.
Some of them that stood there, when they heard that, said, this man called for Elias. And straightway one of them ran and took a sponge and filled it with vinegar and put it on a reed and gave him drink. The rest said, let be, let us see whether Elias will come to save him. Jesus, when he had cried again with a loud voice, yielded up the ghost.
He said, so Christ died. He died in the 9th hour. He died at, read 46 again.
And about the 9th hour.
So Christ died in the 9th hour, which is 3 p.m. the next day. So they got him that Passover night. They ate the Passover. The next morning and the next day, they went through capturing him. He had put him on the cross, did all that. The next day at 3 p.m., he was dead. By the next day at 3 p.m., he was dead. All right, he was dead. Now, go to Matthew 12 and 40. Matter of fact, while you here, go to verse 63. Matthew 27 and 63.
Matthew 27 and verse 63. Saying, Sir, remember that deceiver said while he was yet alive, after 3 days I will rise again.
He said, Christ told them, when I die, after 3 days, I'm going to rise again. I'm going to rise again. Now go to Matthew 28. Y'all see where I'm going with this? Look at this picture. If Christ died on the 15th day, let's say he died on the 14th day, right? Let's say he died on the 14th day. Let's go with something let's say the 14th day, right? What day did he rise? The what day? Which is known as what? It would be what known as what? What day of the week? According to the scriptures. Let's get it. Go to Matthew 28. What day did Christ? You said 17, because why did you say that? Because it say 3 days, right? He will rise if he died on the 14th, and he will say he was gonna rise 3 days later. It would be what? That's why you said the 17th, right? Let's read it. The 17th is that the Sabbath? Go to Matthew 28, verse 1.
Matthew chapter 28 and verse 1. In the end of the Sabbath, as it began to dawn toward the first day of the week.
It was what?
Towards the first day of the week.
It was the first day of the week. If the Sabbath, if the 15th where Christ died, or let's say they said the 14th. So let's say Christ died on the 14th. If you count 3 days from there, how is that the first day of the week when he rose? Remember, he said he was going to rise 3 days. That means he couldn't have died on the 14th. Because on the 15th for them is the weekly Sabbath. On the 15th day for them is the week. When is Passover? The 14th that evening. How can he die on the Sabbath, on their weekly Sabbath, rise again 3 days, and another weekly Sabbath pass? Read verse 28 again.
Matthew 28 and verse 1. In the end of the Sabbath, as it began to dawn toward the first day of the week, came Mary Magdalene and the other Mary to see the sepulchre.
Go ahead.
And behold, there was a great earthquake, for the angel of the Lord descended from heaven, and came and rolled back the stone from the door, and sat upon it.
Go ahead.
His countenance was like lightning, his raiment white as snow. And for fear of him, the keepers did shake, and became as dead men. And the angel answered and said unto the woman, Fear not ye, for I know that ye seek Jesus, which was crucified. He is not here.
He is what?
He is not here.
Go ahead.
For he is risen, as he said. Come see the place where the Lord lay.
So he said, when did Christ say he was going to rise? Go to Matthew 12 and 40. After he died. If he died on Passover, which is, they say the 15th day is the weekly Sabbath for them, how can it be the first day of the week again? How can 7 days go past and it was 3 days later? And it was the first day of the week. This is where the doctrine falls completely apart at. Completely apart at. Read that again, 12 and 40.
Matthew chapter 12 and verse 40. For as Jonas was 3 days and 3 nights in the whale's belly, so shall the Son of Man be 3 days and 3 nights in the heart of the earth.
So it was going to take them 3 days and 3 nights. That means that the 14th day at evening, when Passover was, that had to be a Wednesday or a Thursday. If at the end of the Sabbath, they came and he was already gone, and he said he was going to be rising 3 days, that means the 15th couldn't have been a weekly Sabbath. But according to Lunar Sabbath, the 15th day is always the weekly Sabbath. The 15th day is the 7th day of the week for them. But the scriptures say when he rose, it was the first day of the week. And this is one point that they don't even try to explain. They don't even try to explain this. Because it's impossible. This proves that This is their hatred for the Gregorian calendar. If the 15th is Yah weekly Sabbath every month, how can Christ die, and 15th is the Passover, how can Christ die on the Passover, which is Yah, would have been Yah weekly Sabbath, rise in 3 days, and it's the weekly Sabbath all over again? The doctrine falls apart there.